Hello everybody. Welcome to our 5-day Roots of Resilience workshop. I am so excited. I've got my iPad here. I'm just going to make sure I'm live. There I am. And hopefully I will see as you join me, and I'm going to go slowly because I know there's a bit of a lag with Facebook. I can see people are starting to join me. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, and as you're hopping on, I would be so grateful if you would give this video a heart or just a like, or pop a little comment whereabouts in the world you're from. What brings you to this workshop? You know, what would you love to explore, and what would you love to create, you know? So please be interactive. This is a private group, and your comments really help they help others, and people can feel like they can't always talk about drinking problems. And my mission is to bring us all together into this gorgeous space and really create somewhere where we can connect at this deep level. And the purpose of this 5-day workshop is to help all of you, wherever you are on your journey, to really get into the roots of who you are at that really core level, and to learn to build resistance, to learn to build resilience, sober resilience, so that we don't keep getting stuck in patterns, in negative behaviours, in self-sabotaging behaviours, and in that sort of day one drinking cycle. And we really feel that actually, you know, we can create positive change. We can do hard things. And I am here to tell you it's perfectly possible. There are many ways to do it, either on your own or with a coach or a mentor, therapist, counsellor. There are many methods, many modalities, and my belief is follow your heart. Listen to the people that inspire you, that you gel with, that you vibe with. And you can take bits and pieces, and you can absolutely formulate your own plan. This is the key thing, is to really have some kind of structure, some kind of a plan, so that you're not feeling like your sails are flopping about in the wind and you're being carried along and you're like, oh my God, this just feels really awful. So this week, I'm going to be sharing with you really at these core root levels of where to focus and how to do that with the wellness tree, which is my methodology. And we're going to be covering over the 5 days self-sabotage, self-love, self-discipline. And I have something really special to say about this. If you're eye-rolling at the discipline, I have totally found a way to work with this. Freedom from drinking, consistency, accountability, FOMO, and fun. So this is going to give you, hopefully, a new way of looking at things. Really fresh energy, really like space to breathe and just regroup. So this week is about exploring together, being open to new ways of learning, to new ways of doing things, and to new ways of being. And my work in Sober Souls, I do my free trainings, all of my content, all of my programs, the work I do with clients is all focused on leaving the old identity and all those negative drinking habits and letting them go, and transforming into the new identity. And that's what we're tiptoeing into this week, because it's really important to have a clear vision of what you want to create, where you're going, and then how do we get there? So this will all start to make sense and all start to fall into place. Any questions as we go, drop them in the comments. I'll keep an eye out and I'll try and answer them if I can. If not, I will be definitely back in the group to answer them. Feel free also to send me a private message. I love to get messages. I love to hear from you. I always reply to messages. It might take me a little while sometimes, but I love to connect one-to-one. So if you would rather do that in private, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so today, let's first of all, if you don't know, let's define what grey area drinking is. Because my work is all around grey area drinking. I am a grey area drinking coach. I'm a soul, sobriety, freedom coach. And so I am really, really interested in helping you to get through the very common things that go on with grey area drinking that people don't really understand, and they think, what the hell's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? There's nothing wrong with you at all. There's nothing wrong with you. And so I really want to help to hold you through this transitional period and to really get clear on like what the hell is going on. So grey area drinking is this. If you think of alcohol drinking alcohol on a spectrum, one end of the spectrum we have the people who can have, for example, have a glass of wine now and again. It's just not a thing. They can take it or leave it. Now, I used to be one of those people. I would have a drink once in a blue moon. It would go straight to my head. Didn't really like it. Didn't like the feeling of alcohol until it started to become a habit. Okay. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we have the people who really are heavy addicts. They need to be medically detoxed. Now, I don't work with those people. That's not an area that I'm trained in. I am trained in the area in the middle, which is this grey area, this huge, huge spectrum, which is where most people are, where most regular, normal drinkers are. They find themselves in this grey area, and they will often be questioning their drinking, and they will be thinking about drinking, thinking about not drinking, and they will be maybe it's like a problem, they're drinking too much, they're over drinking, and they find that alcohol becomes a very consuming thing. It's taking a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts. And perhaps they're noticing negative things coming from that, and it affects sleep, and it affects relationships, and it affects how we show up, how we feel in ourselves. And this is how it was for me. It was, in the end, my relationship with wine changed from one of, oh, I found wine, it feels fun, it seems to help my anxiety and give me confidence, party for one, yay. And then it changed from, oh my God, my husband's really ill. He's waiting for a transplant. What the hell's going to happen? I don't know how to cope. I feel anxious all the time. I feel overwhelmed, all of this stuff. And so I was then really drinking to numb and squash, and I do everything to really abandon myself. And maybe you can relate as well. So we have very often a lot of other negative things happening if we are grey area drinkers. For example, there may be a real lack of self-care and a real lack of being present with ourselves. And we tend to abandon ourselves. We tend to have low self-esteem, low self-worth. And there's very often a tale to tell from childhood traumas, and there's a very wounded inner child. So a lot of this journey is really almost being there for our inner child and doing that inner work and reparenting ourselves, and recognizing all the parts that we don't want to look at, that we don't like about ourselves. Oh, and then we have the rebel popping up, and then the wine witch, and we feel like it's not fair, and all of these things, these parts of ourselves can play out. And this is what leads to self-sabotage. And we think, oh, this just feels so hard. And we end up again abandoning ourselves, and we can't seem to break these patterns. So grey area drinking is often something that we use to cope with stress, with pressure, and this is everyday life. Life has changed so much, hasn't it? We have many hats to wear. Whether we are mums, whether we have big families, whether we're business owners, we have high-powered jobs, we're pet mums, we have maybe ill parents, elderly parents we're looking after, loved ones, sick loved ones, our own health and wellness journeys. There's a lot. And then there's divorce, and then there's house moves, and there's a lot, right? So lots and lots of kindness and compassion for ourselves. That is the biggest thing we need to really have for ourselves on this journey, is to really start with, I'm showing up, and that's the first step. And bloody well done me. That is so good. That you're even here in this group is so courageous. It's like you're looking at this, you're here, you're showing up. Massive well done. And this is really the key of being self-aware, and how we deepen that relationship with our own self-awareness. So I encourage you, to take away really for your own time is, and perhaps you've already done this, is to just really reflect on your own drinking patterns, and just notice really with curiosity, like you're just, look at that about myself. Isn't that interesting? When are the times when you find yourself drinking when you said you weren't going to, reaching for that drink because you're just in that reactive moment? When are those times? So recognizing the need for change is the first step towards really transforming your health and wellness journey. It's the first step towards that healthier lifestyle. And this is us. This is us going into route 1 of the wellness tree. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about the wellness tree before, the wellness tree is my methodology that I use with my own journey, with clients. I do my free content and trainings around it. And it has helped me to finally quit drinking. I stopped drinking, I began my journey just over 7.5 years ago. And as I always say, I've had a few drinking experiments in that time. The last one was around 3 years ago when my dad died. And then a couple of other times when I just thought, I can go back to drinking and just moderate it. These have been really valuable lessons for me. And when I've had these drinking episodes before, I used to really beat myself up. And it's key that we don't, and we just learn from them and we move on from them. For me, it helped to really reaffirm that, no, I am on the right path. I love being sober, and it's kept me on track. So in this route 1 is ready. Now, I did a wellness tree workshop, which was another free workshop I did. And if you want to learn about the tree a little more, you can go and watch that replay, which is in the guide section. And it's also something we're going to be diving into a lot deeper in the reset experience, which is happening, is coming up after this workshop towards the end of February. And I'm going to be talking about that at the end of the 5 days, and how you can join that, and how you can really journey with me deeper into these roots, okay? So you can go ahead and watch that video later, and that will give you more of an idea about the tree. So let me just have a sip of tea. So root 1 of the tree is called ready, and it really is about, okay, here I am, where do I go from here? I know I'm ready to create positive change. I'm ready to stop drinking, I'm ready to stay stopped, and I'm ready to deepen into my already sober journey. So it's for you wherever you are. Now here's something that a lot of people get stuck with, and they can't seem to move forward from this point. They know that they need to do something about their drinking. They know they need to stop, but they don't want to. And this really holds them back. And this was me. I didn't actually want to stop drinking. I did want to, but I didn't want to. And so I really wanted to, in an ideal world, be someone who could just have a couple of glasses of wine, like maybe at the weekends, and take it or leave it and it wouldn't be a thing. But I tried that. I tried that for years. I tried it. It was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. I was thinking about drinking and not drinking all the time, and it was taking up so much headspace. And in the end, that's when I decided, do you know what? My life would feel so much easier if I just decided to stop drinking. But I knew that was kind of my end goal, but I couldn't quite get there. And what happened was I had a major nudge. And I eventually got married to my husband. And then 2 weeks after we got married, he said to me, Kath, you need to stop doing something. You need to start doing something about your drinking. You need to really do something. And I thought, well, I know I can't moderate. This is it. I've just got to quit. And we had a bit of a row, and I knew he really meant it, because he said, we can't go on like this. You know, there's a lot more to this story. We'd had a lot of, it was causing a lot of problems, and it was quite clear that I needed to stop drinking. And I knew he was right. But I felt quite torn, and I felt quite resentful as well, because I thought, well, I love my wine. I love my Merlot, my party for one, and letting my hair down in the evenings and just chilling out with my bottle of wine and my self-help books. And, you know, I'd build up all this kind of momentum to quit one day, only I'd never quite manage it. And I had got several weeks, months under my belt, but I couldn't make it stick. But I just didn't want to. And then I realised there was nothing I could do about that piece other than accept it. I didn't want to, but I needed to. Why did I need to? Well, I looked at all of my reasons why I needed to quit drinking. I looked at what the daily drinking habit was actually doing to me. And it was affecting my mood. It was making me really miserable. I was feeling guilty because I was starting to hide wine, and I was buying too much wine. And I was buying, let's buy another couple of bottles just in case. I didn't want to run out. So I was drinking at my worst a bottle to a bottle and a half pretty much most days. And I could do the odd day or two without wine. But when I wasn't drinking, I really knew I wasn't drinking, and it felt really uncomfortable. And so the thought of no wine ever again felt terrifying. And I thought, life just feels no fun anymore. But I thought, I'm going to have to make this work if I do stop drinking. And I know I need to stop drinking. And so that's kind of how this wellness tree was born, because it showed me you need to really create a new identity. You need to figure out how to be the version of you that just doesn't drink anymore. And so that was where my journey began, of all of this building the self-awareness and getting curious and finding new ways of thinking and new ways of being. So that was the pivotal moment when my husband Rich had that conversation with me. And then I was like, after that, I was like, right, I need to do this. No more faffing around. Because I swear, if he hadn't have said that to me, I'd have still been trying to make moderation work, and I'd have still been there stuck. And it was the best decision I ever made, was to quit drinking. Because what I noticed, what it gave me was, it gave me my power back. It showed me that actually, if I choose to do this, if I choose to make myself a priority, that felt so empowering. And this is how we want to view this. We choose not to drink, and that feels empowering. And this opens the door to positive transformation. And so today, in today's workshop, just imagine that you are standing at this place and there is a door in front of you. And on the other side of that door is everything you want. On the other side of that door is your transformation, your freedom, like everything you want. And all you have to do is open that door and walk through it. But maybe stuff's coming up for you. Maybe there's some fear. Maybe there's some, I've tried to do this so many times before, and every time I do, I fail. I don't know how to do this. And so today, don't worry about that. Today, all we're going to do, we're just going to look at this door, and we're going to know that our full potential, everything is on the other side. And we are going to go through that door, but we're only going to go through that door when we feel that we are feeling safe, we are feeling like we've got some kind of plan under our belt. Because otherwise we are like that sail in the wind, just like not feeling very anchored. And so we can then turn the knob on the door and we can just open it a little crack. We can see that golden light shining towards us. And it's got this gorgeous warm glow, and it looks really inviting. And you know you're going to walk through that door, right? And so by the end of this 5 days together, you're going to have so much more knowledge. But that's not where I want this to stop. I want you to take action on what you're going to learn this week. And I want you to implement, and I want you to make it feel good for you, because we are all different. We're all on the same journey, but we're all doing it with our own energy, with our own feelings and what feels good for us, because we're all different. Some people like certain tools, other people like different tools. We're all different. So this is where we are arriving at this space. We are patting ourselves on the back for showing bravery, for showing courage. Like, how many people would even carve out this time to be here live, to be in the group, to be watching on the replay later? That is amazing self-care. And that's the other thing, the theme for this week. Valentine's Day is on Wednesday, and I am doing Valentine's week for all of us, which means having a focus on making ourselves a priority. You see, it always starts with us. Giving to ourselves first, making ourselves top priority, which can feel really, really hard if we're not used to doing that. And it's a practice. And I remember a time very well when I was newly sober. I'd already had several attempts, and I was standing in my kitchen, had this huge craving for wine. It was a lovely sunny day, and I remember thinking, oh my God, I just really want some wine. I could go down the garage right now. It was literally 10-minute drive down the road. I could buy wine, could buy loads of junk at the same time, party for one. I could start Monday. Now, I had been in that pattern of thinking for so long. I'll start Monday. I don't feel like it. I'm too tired. I've had a rubbish day. I've had an argument with my husband. Let's just pour the wine. I'll start Monday. I'll wait until I feel like it. Or there was a big life challenge, like someone was ill, or I'd had a huge bill through the door, or something was stolen from me, whatever the thing. Excuses, right? Tough love, excuses. That is life. That is life. And the lesson that I had to learn, the hard lesson, but the truth is, it's down to us all to take responsibility for our healthy transformation. If we don't, if we just bury our head in the sand, if we just keep doing the same patterns, the same things we've always been doing, we're just going to stay there. We're going to get the same results. We are not going to grow. So we have to be brave and promise ourselves, okay, I am going to walk through that door, and it might just be 1 foot through, and that's fine. Might just be 1 toe, but that's still forward action. The next day, the next week, it might be the foot, the whole foot, the leg, the whole of you is through that door. You're like, right, I am here. I am ready. Let's do this. Bring it on. Always focus on the smallest thing that you can do in any one day. Remember, as women, mostly women in this group, we are cyclical beings. We have feelings, we have emotions. There's always things we are processing, shifting through, and we're different. We have seasons, and we need to honour that. We need to really listen to our body. So some days might be a really slow day, really restful. Perhaps we're having a bit of a funky mood day, or we're trying to process something, or maybe the only thing we can focus on is just like brushing our teeth and making our bed, and if we've done that, that feels like a huge milestone. I've had days like that, and those days really are the days when we really need to be extra kind and gentle on ourselves. But as soon as we feel that shift, we push ourselves forward. It's like, right, what can I do today? What is the bare minimum that I require from myself today? So what I want to emphasize on this part is when it starts feeling hard, when you start feeling wobbly, those are the moments that we need to keep going, because otherwise we are falling back into our own patterns. To get to the new identity, we literally have to keep going. So when I had that moment in my kitchen, I suddenly got a wave of curiosity that came over me. I recognized that this was the version of me that always caved in, that could never commit, that could never be consistent. Oh, I thought I could so easily just press the F it button and start again Monday. But then I felt really disappointed if I had chosen to do that, because I felt weak. I felt like, why can't I just commit to, what is it? And I just really knew that I didn't want to feel uncomfortable. But to change, in order to change, we need to go through that discomfort. And this curiosity came over me, and I thought, I don't know the version of me that just keeps going. And I thought, I wonder if I actually can just keep going. And then I thought, well, I can. If I tell myself I can and I actually do, then of course. I thought, well, could I? I thought, imagine if I did. Imagine telling people, oh, I don't drink anymore. It's just not a thing. Imagine walking with my head held high with confidence. I don't miss alcohol. I don't need to drink. Imagine being able to sober socialise and be around drinkers and it just doesn't bother me. Imagine being able to be present in the evening and really enjoy being present with my husband, with loved ones, with family, friends, pets, doing something nourishing, being. It's like I didn't know how to be me without numbing, squashing, checking out, scrolling, spending money. I didn't know that. You know, I knew that version of me from years and years ago, but that was when I was a little kid. And even then I was chomping away on sweets, so even then I wasn't doing it. And I really wanted to know who I really and truly was. And that, I've been following that thread for the last 7.5 years. And I can tell you, like, it's the most incredible journey because, yes, it's hard, it's tough. You go through all of these, it's like the dying moments and the peeling back the layers of the onion. But you also get that gold. You find your breadcrumbs and you can make a loaf of bread, right? You get your gold, you get your ahas, you get your breakthroughs. And this is how we build this resilience, this rooted resilience by really pushing ourselves to sit with discomfort. Definitely get support in if you need support with this, if it's like therapy, counselling, some kind of professional support with that specifically, get that support in place. For me, I just sat with my journal. I was like journaling and writing it out. I was writing out my anger, my frustration, big letters, swear words. I was crying on the floor. I remember praying to whoever was listening. I didn't really I believed in something. I didn't know what that was. But you just have to keep going. You have to trust. And you have to keep staying consistent with the things every day that are feeding you, the healthy habits, the rituals. And we'll talk more about this as we go on this week. This is the key thing, really, is this discomfort piece. And it lasts for a little while, and then that becomes your new comfort zone. And then you're ready for your next stretch. Let's just talk a little bit about ending self-sabotage, because this is something I struggled with so long. It's what I hear all the time. And self-sabotage occurs when we are hanging on to almost like invisible threads of our old identity. We can't completely let go of that because we miss the familiarity, we miss that comfort, and it's almost like a false comfort. It's what we became really used to. And as we're hanging on to that part, because we're fearful of being both foot in, it's like we have to let go. We have to almost be naked. It's like stepping through that door. And it's like jumping off a cliff. That's what it feels like. And it feels so scary sometimes. And this is where I believe really in the baby steps, really in the power of the small steps. So rather than thinking, I've got to go sober forever, I would approach it as, okay, well, that might be my intention. I'm not going to focus on that part. I'm literally just going to focus on a week. I'm just not going to drink for this week. And then break that down into days. And break that day down into the morning. Break the morning down into the hour. You can make it so so manageable, right? There's certain behaviours that really do accompany grey area drinking that come up all the time for us. Things like procrastination, negative self-talk, avoiding responsibility. So something that my clients often complain about is, oh, I feel so overwhelmed, I've got so much to do, there's so much clutter, I've got so many papers on my desk, and oh my gosh, I feel I've said yes to so many things and I just feel so stretched and like it just feels all too much. Yeah, and I've done this too. I've said yes to lots of things and or I can't be bothered sometimes. I feel lazy and I'll do it tomorrow is one of my things my husband laughs at. I'll do it tomorrow is something that I used to say it an awful lot, and I'm really trying to work on that myself. It's like, nope, I'm going to be the girl that just does it now. I'm going to do it now. But here, this is like the first, one of the first things that we would work on together if we work together. And I really invite you to start to look at this, because what we want to do is we want to start letting go and creating space. So where alcohol has been taking from you, it's been taking your energy, it's been taking your mindset, robbing you of healthy thoughts and taking nourishment and depleting and all of that. We want to now really start creating some space, drawing a line, facing the door. And now we're going to welcome in nourishment. And we're only going to allow in things that feel really good, feel really supportive. So thinking about people. Are there supportive people on your journey? Are there any friendships or relationships that just don't feel aligned anymore? What about how you're talking to yourself? Are there any thinking patterns that need to be let go of, that was really associated with that old identity? Because this is what we want to start working on, is this new identity and the language and how you're talking to yourself. We'll be working on this more this week. So, oh, that's good, I'm back. That was a bit weird. I was trying to delete a message that popped up. Anyway, yeah, it's just this really letting go of people, places, things that don't serve us anymore, things that really need to go with that old identity, with love, with thanks for the lessons, but I don't do that anymore. And now we're like really focused on building this new identity, because those behaviours are the things that are really going to keep us stuck. And we are very focused now on walking through this golden door. So we want to now introduce healthy coping mechanisms, healthy ways of doing things. So instead of numbing and squashing and not wanting to feel, we now need to be okay with feeling our feelings. This is something I've been working through with a client. We were talking about this morning actually, and how she has reached a place where she can actually recognize the parts of herself that used to almost scare her, that used to, like, she didn't want to look at them. And now she can really sit with those parts and really listen to what those parts really want. Like the child, it could be the child that pops up and it's like, this just doesn't feel fun. This doesn't feel exciting, and this doesn't feel fun. And it's almost like that rebellious, like, no, I'm not, and stamping my feet. And that part of us has something so relevant to say, and so needs to be loved and heard and brought with us. And this is something that we work on in the reboot as well, is transforming these shadow parts of ourselves and bringing them with us and turning them into your superpowers. This is the archetypes. I'll be touching on these in the reset as well. These are things like the queen, the warrior, you know, these really empowered parts of you that are there. We all have them. They are all within us. And so as we are releasing everything that doesn't serve, we are tapping into this real empowered place. So coping mechanisms, we've got things like mindfulness, being present in the moment. Again, this is a big practice. Movement, getting out in nature, getting outside for a walk, moving our bodies, doing a quick dance routine in the morning, or something on yoga, or walking outside, walking up and down the stairs, a few steps around the house. Like, what can we manage? What can we do? What is the minimum that we can do for ourselves? Creative outlets as well. What can we do instead? What new habits, what new healthy goals would you love to do instead? Something I did in my first year sober, instead of drinking wine in the evenings and instead of nibbling, I crocheted myself a blanket. Now, I just learnt like 2 or 3 basic stitches, didn't know how to crochet really, and just made a blanket. And it took so long, and it was all misshapen, it was wonky, it was very imperfect, but it worked. It kept my dog warm, our previous dog that we had, and it was just really calming. I found it really, really soothing. So think about like what hobbies, what things you can do, what new interests. What did you used to love to do that you would love to do again? Or what would you love to do that maybe feels a bit like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. Why not just try it? Push yourself. Be the version of you that just pushes herself. Must have some tea. So how are we getting on? If you have any questions, pop them in the comments. If I can answer them, if not, I will pop back in the group. Gosh, I've got so many notes here. And look how long I have been talking for. So I might not cover all of this because it's going to go on for way too long. I'm just going to talk about building sober resilience. What is that exactly? So this, in a nutshell, it involves really developing the strength, the inner strength to face life's challenges. Because what is sobriety? Sobriety is doing life without alcohol. And nothing else is different apart from the fact that we're just not drinking alcohol. But maybe we have been using alcohol as a tool to deal with everyday stresses and pressures and overwhelming things. So we really want to build this inner resilience. So we want to learn to be grounded, centered, supported, which is how the wellness tree is set up. So it's really being the eye of the storm. And that means being okay with being uncomfortable. This is a journey of personal growth and empowerment. It's also one of imperfection. We have to be okay with being imperfect, with things feeling really messy, with embracing all of the sides of us that we don't really like. We have to be okay with failure, because failure is necessary. We have to fail in order to learn, right? Think of the top athletes and how they really study. They have to fail. They've failed many, many times. We are the same. Sobriety is a skill and it's a practice. There are many, many skills involved and we get to practice. Now, there's 2 things that are really important to building sober resilience. The first one is to set realistic goals. So make them, like I was saying earlier, breaking stuff down. Everything in your life that you're working on, everything in your Stay Sober plan needs to be broken down to literally one step at a time, one baby step. And secondly, there's so much value in having a support system. So we have this group, maybe there's other groups that you love, maybe you have a coach, a mentor, another professional person, or you have an accountability partner, you have friends, family, people who get you. Really find your tribe. Sometimes that can be just a few people. We don't actually need that many people. And the person that we need most is ourselves. We need to be able to rely on ourselves. And if you're thinking, oh, I can't rely on myself, I don't trust myself, this is where you have to do the thing imperfectly, because you will see results. Failure after failure, it's okay, it's welcome. You get to get back on track, you get to tweak your plan, you get to try and do it, keep doing it, because it's going to work, it's going to stick. And then let me just talk about, I'm just going to wrap this up soon, embracing self-love. So there's a big connection, huge, it's huge, between self-love and sobriety, because I really feel it's taking the focus from depletion and almost beating ourselves up, robbing ourselves, to one of nurturing, nourishing self-love. And we can find this really difficult, really hard, if we have been used to beating ourselves up, talking about ourselves in a really negative way, and feeling all those really low vibe things, to then suddenly loving ourselves. It's like, how the hell do we do that? This has taken such a long time for me. I'm going to recommend a book for you, actually, that I love. I recommend to my clients as well. And it's called I Love Me, and it's by David Hamilton. This is such a good book if you want to have a read of that. The Science of Self-Love. And the wellness tree as well is set up so that you know where to focus, because this is a journey of nourishment. A tree that is well rooted is going to have juicy flowers and fruit and leaves. It's going to be vibrant, it's going to be really healthy, and it's going to grow really strong. That's how the wellness tree supports us. And let me just check my notes. Yeah. I'm going to just talk about the roots, actually. I'm going to give you the 5 roots. And if you want to dive deeper into these 5 roots, then come and join the reset at the end of the 5 days, and I'll talk about that more. The areas to focus in the roots to help you to really get your plan in place is, root 1 is ready. Now this is where you want to think about why you're doing this journey, all your reasons why it's important to you. Root 2 is vision and planning. It's called outline, vision and planning. So then you're going to know where you're going. Number 3 is mindset, energy, calming the nervous system. So this is going to help you to get more tools together. It's also tapping into that new identity, how to think, how to feel, how to really show up as her, the version of you that just doesn't drink, the version of you that's embodied all in, I just don't drink anymore. This is the new, confident, empowered me. Like, you've totally taken your power back. Route 4 is action, momentum and flow. This feeds Route 3 because this is where you really are working your plan. You're focusing on eliminating self-sabotage, you're staying consistent, you're staying in momentum, you're staying in flow. And this is where we're working with that masculine doing energy, and we're really balancing it with the feminine being energy. So if you were to work with me in a deeper way, we would be learning how to really get you set up in your week so that you're able to give time for you, time for your home, your family, your loved ones, time for work, time for all the tiny little things that, you know, we never seem to get around to doing, like scheduling appointments and making sure things happen. And like, there's so much in our lives to take care of. And wouldn't it be great if we had a system, an automated system set up where everything is just taken care of? And this is actually how the wellness tree will really help you, because then we have those different life areas in the branches that we're working on as well. And then Route 5 is serve. So this is bringing it all together. That's a toe dip. That's just it in a nutshell. And I do talk about that a little bit more in the free video in the guide section of it's called the Wellness Tree Workshop. I mentioned discipline earlier. We're going to be talking about that more this week, but it's when I talked earlier about I don't want to quit drinking, but I need to, right? Remember I said that? The huge shift I can offer you, the huge thing that might be a breakthrough with this, is to reframe this as the importance of devotion. So it's reframing discipline to devotion, and how devoted we can be to ourselves. We make ourselves, we're devoted to working on ourselves, to doing the inner work, because then that will transform the outer, that will transform. We spend so long trying to fix the outside. Or like, oh, perhaps if I do this big house move, then it will help me to get sober. Or let me buy all these books and listen to all these podcasts, and oh, that's the book that's going to help me get sober. That was something I used to say. But we can read and we can absorb and we can do things. But what we really need to do is be inside, working through our beliefs and the things that are holding us, like keeping us stuck. And sometimes we can't see that, and it can take another person to really, really like reflect that back. And that's how I work with my clients, because we can't always see our stuff, and that's why I have a coach, so someone can do that for me. And it's so transformative, and you can actually do this with journaling as well, asking yourself really powerful questions like, why do I think that? Where does that thought come from? Who told me that? Is that something my parents told me or a teacher told me? And is that true? Is that really true? But it is being completely and utterly devoted to ourselves, to our sobriety, to our energy, our mindset, all of us, all of us. Accountability is huge, and really setting up your environment so that it's really supportive. And that's something I'm going to be talking about in the reset as well, how to set your environment up so it supports the new identity. So I have made this video way longer than I meant to. Apologies, and thank you so much for sticking with me. Let me just cover a quick recap in a nutshell. We talked about the first thing, really making that decision to quit. Like, if not now, when? Let's just do it, right? Ending self-sabotage, building the resilience, embracing the self-love, and maintaining devotion. all of this is a practice. Remember the power of small positive steps. Remember that progress takes time. And remember also the small steps have this compounding effect. So just doing little mini habits every single day or 5 days a week, they're going to have a compounding effect. And it's so much easier to keep small habits going because that's doable. And that really does create long-lasting, sustainable change. And celebrate your wins. Even the smallest wins can be the most powerful. So we have got a lot to cover again for the rest of this week. Now, I'm not going to be deleting these videos. These videos are going to be in the guide section to keep, and you can just plug into them whenever you feel you want to. Please reach out, ask me questions, post, comment. It's all welcome. I'm here for you. And if you want clarification on anything, just let me know. There was a lot today and I wasn't expecting to talk that much. So sorry about that, but I hope you found it helpful. I hope you've really kind of, you're ready, right? You're ready just to start with your next step. Lots of love. I will see you same time tomorrow. Take care. Bye.